So interviewer asks you, explain a scenario where you used Git Fork instead of Git Clone. I hope you watched the previous lecture where I explained the difference between clone and fork. Assuming that, let me answer how you can explain interviewer answer to this question. So basically, you can just tell the interviewer, Git Fork is used to create a private copy or a separate copy of the remote repository. This is used best when you want to contribute to a repository which is in public or private within your organization. Clone is basically used to create a local copy of the repository. You can also give some examples to the interviewer. Probably you can say, in my organization, there is a project where thousands of people contribute to that repository or hundreds of people contribute to it, depending upon the size of your organization. And write access is disabled to the repository. Because write access is disabled to the repository, to contribute to the repo, we are supposed to create a fork to that repo and make changes by creating a branch. Later, create a pull request to that repository. So this is where I use fork instead of clone. Now, interviewer instantly might ask you, when would you prefer clone instead of fork? Now, in this scenario, you can explain. Imagine there is a project where I'm just supposed to execute the scripts in the project. Maybe there is a repository for Helm chart where my whole purpose is to execute the Helm chart. I'm not contributing to that particular Helm chart. Then it doesn't make sense to create a fork of that repo, knowing that I would never contribute to it. So in this particular scenario, I will just create a clone of that repository so that I can have Helm chart on my laptop. And then I will run the Helm command onto the target Kubernetes cluster. In this case, clone is preferred compared to fork. In a nutshell, you can tell the interviewer, when you want to create a separate copy of the repository so that you can contribute to that repository which has write access denied, you will go for fork instead of clone. Whereas if you want to just create a local copy, execute that script, probably you would just never contribute to that repo back. Instead of forking, you will just use git clone on the remote repository. But the preferred approach is the combination of fork plus clone. So fork the repository and then clone the repository that you have forked, just like I have explained in the theory part. So this is about git fork versus clone when interviewer asks you this question.